All right. Hey guys, welcome to our team call. I'm really super excited about our guest speaker tonight. But before we get to that, I do want to recognize all of you for having an awesome January. So let me go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see this. And then I wanted to talk about a little announcement that's really exciting for those new coaches. So let's start with our, why is it being wonky? Okay, let's start with our Success Club leaders. With 24, we have myself. With 18, we have Natalie Balsamo. With 16, we have Emmy Schneider-Green. With 10, we have Sammy Glowacki. With 8, we have Alexa Berink and Heidi, I always say your name wrong. I'm just going to say Champagne. And then with 6, we have Amber Salmon, Tara Rudder, and Rebecca Connolly. With 4, we have Kelsey Crookshanks, Valeria Hernandez, Jessica Waggers, Lauren Avon, Brittany Swanson. Actually, I think Valeria might have had 6. This might be wrong. And then with 2, we had Tommy, which I think is Alexa, Brittany Long, Jeanette Tartaglino, Michelle Sowers, Lisa Cowley, Jamie Shea, Amanda Cichetta, Jennifer Bukowski, Lindsay Hall, Madeline Burt, Tara Byers, Crystal Harlow, and Robin Robillard. So congratulations to those of you who made it on the board. Those of you who made it into Success Club, awesome job. Those of you who helped one person, awesome job to you too for changing a life. And then I do want to recognize our Rockstar recruiters. I'm not going to, I guess I'll go through all of them. There's not that many. So we'll start with our top recruiter of the month, Emmy Schneider-Green. And I love that picture of us, so I put that in the middle. And then she had 6 new coaches last month. Then with 5, we have Heidi and Alexa. With 4, we have myself and Natalie. With 3, we have Tara. With 2, we have Amber and Rebecca. And then with 1 coach, we have Brittany Long, Kelsey Crookshanks, Lauren Avon, Michelle Sowers, Rebecca Connolly. Wait, why is your name on there twice? I think you had 2. Robin Robillard, Sammy Glowacki, Tara Byers, and Valeria Hernandez. So congratulations to everyone who made it on the board last month. If you didn't, you can make it on there this month. There's always a new opportunity to do so. And our team total for Success Club is 148, which is pretty awesome. And we added 40 new teammates together as a team, which is also really amazing. That's more than 1 coach per day. And our current total coach count as a downline team right now is 502. We do have a goal to double our team to be at 1,000 coaches strong by the end of the year. And even though we've added 40, we've lost quite a few. So that's okay because we are moving forward even though, we're losing a few coaches here and there. I feel like, the ones that are still here are the ones that are meant to be here, and don't let it bother you at all. So congratulations again to everyone. And I do want to just kind of point out that quote that's going to stay on this all year: consistency plus time plus intensity times belief equals success. The reason why all of that is multiplied by belief is because if your belief is 0, anything times 0 is 0. So you have to have belief in what you're doing in order to have success in this business. So that's just going to be up there all year as a constant reminder of that. And then I do want to go through some team events for the month. So for the month of February, we have Team Cup. So those of you who are on a Team Cup team, all of you should be. You are going to try to beat your personal Success Club record. You're going to try to help as many people as you can this month. And maybe for you, that's 3 people. Maybe you haven't hit Success Club yet. Maybe you're going to do that this month. Maybe for you, you're trying to beat 20 or 40 or whatever it may be. But whatever your goal is, you're going to try to help as many people as you can this month, and you're working together with your little teams to do that. We're also doing a sack race all of the month of February, so you guys know about that. You drop your share a cart, you drop a cart emoji when you send one, and then you drop your GIF on your on the post when you sign a person up, and we celebrate that. And then also you have the opportunity to earn a spot in the Morning Meltdown 100 pilot test group. So for those of you who don't know what a test group is, if you're brand new, this is the first group of coaches to go through the new program with the actual trainer. I was actually fortunate enough to be in the Shift Shop test group a few years ago, and it was a really amazing experience. So those of you who do want to earn a spot in the test group, check out FAQ 8307 for all of the details on that, but it does have to do with hitting Success Club and helping change as many lives as you can. So if you're doing all of that, you're going to knock all of those goals out in one shot. Also, we're hosting a sneak peek this week, the 7th to the 9th, which is my birthday. And then we're doing another one later in the month. So if you want to help out with that, just reach out to myself or Natalie. We're putting that one together. Sean T is on the Today Show, so that's just something really cool to share with your challengers to kind of like hype up Transform 20. They do have a few more days to get into that test group. They extended the deadline for that. The Fruit Punch Energize is launching this month, which I'm really excited because you guys know I love pink. So now we'll have pink drinks to drink, and there will be pink powder all over my house instead of yellow. And then also, I'm going to be doing a drawing for our team. So anyone who purchases a Fruit Punch Energized tub or stick pack between the 19th and the 20th, we're going to be doing a raffle drawing within our team page. So we'll have a post going up, and you can comment on that when you place your order for that. And also, those of you who are using the challenge group event page strategy that Lauren taught us, I think a good date to start that for the next month would be to start it on the 24th. But it really just depends on when you're going to host your next challenge group. So that's it for events. And then really quick, this announcement just came up today. I do want to let you guys know that the Success Starter clock is now changed. So in the past, you had to hit Success Club your first 3 consecutive months as a coach. Now, I don't know if this is just like a short-term kind of thing or if this is this is how it's always going to be, but they're turning the clocks back in February. So for any coach who's ever earned a spot or who has never earned ever in their life a Success Club point, and if you hit Success Club this month, it will count as your month 1 for Success Starter. So if you've never, ever in your life earned a Success Club point, even if you've been a coach for 4 years and you've never earned a Success Club point ever in your life, this is your chance to make a comeback and be a Success Starter by helping 3 in February, 3 in March, and 3 in April. And the way that this seems, it seems to me that it's just for this month, but I will look into that. But I just want to let you guys know, because I know that there are some brand new coaches who may have missed the opportunity to be a Success Starter because you haven't helped anyone yet, and I want to let you know that you do have a second chance to do that. So the FAQ 11579 will have all of the details in there, but I did want to just let you know that. So that's super exciting. But we have a special guest here, so I do want to give her the time that she so deserves to talk to us and share with us. So if you do not know, our guest speaker is Milan Jensen, and Milan is our great-great-great-great-grandma coach. I guess that's the best and easiest way to explain who she is. And I had the opportunity, actually Emmy and I had the opportunity to meet her for the first time at the leadership conference, not last year, but the year before. So 2 years ago in Vegas. And she is the sweetest person ever. Like if you meet her, if you ever meet her, you're just going to want to run up and give her a hug. Like that's just the kind of person that she is. But she is a very, very special and important person for the network, not just our team, but for the network as a whole, because in 2006, when I was in middle school, she and Carl Deichler started the Coach Network. She's the first coach, like one of the first coaches in the entire Coach Network, which is really awesome. She's also a 2-time consecutive top coach, which is really amazing. She's the first person to do that. And she's been an elite coach and the leader of an elite organization as well. And she was also one of the first people to make it into the Million Club, which if those of you who don't know what that means, it means that has made an accumulative amount of $1 million with Beachbody, which I'm sure by now has quadrupled and tripled and multiplied by a million. But besides, not even just counting her stats and the things that she, has accomplished, she has been able to help so many other people do the same things that she has done. And I think that speaks a lot to the leadership, up to the level of leadership that she has achieved in her life. I think it's awesome to be able to do those things, but I think it's even cooler to be able to say that, she's helped a lot of other people do that too. So today I'm super excited to have her talk to us and share how she keeps her coaching business fresh and fun. After 13 years, I just saw you made a post today. It was this is your 13th year with Tracy as business partners as a coach. And she's continued to have success consistently over these past 13 years through growing her income and helping other leaders within her organization grow theirs as well. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Milan to drop her knowledge bombs and share all of her wisdom with us. And if you have a pen and paper, make sure you're taking notes. And I want to see everybody's eyes. I don't want to see you guys like answering messages or, looking on Facebook or, checking your emails. Like, I want to see everyone paying attention. Like, I see you, so I can tell if you're like paying attention or if you're scrolling. And if you have glasses on like me, you really can tell. So I'm going to hand it over to you. And thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Middle school, seriously. Okay, so maybe I am like everybody's great-grandmother here. Such a joy. I mean, I remember bumping into you. I think I was hanging out at Starbucks at the time, and you came by, and I just felt your heart for this business and for coaching. And I'm, I think that moment was important to both of us. So I'm so glad that we've continued to be connected and friends, and so glad to see your team. My gosh, what an awesome group. It looks like of all women. I can't see everybody, but I think it is. So let me start here. I remember the moment that I decided I was going to be a coach. It happened actually as I was leaving the Beachbody office back in 2005, September. And, Carl was actually walking me out the door, and he could probably tell that, my arms are still a little bit crossed about this whole thing. Like, I wasn't really sure. And up until that moment, there was nothing about coaching that felt like I belonged. I wasn't a personal trainer. I wasn't fit. I had never done a Beachbody program. I think I'd seen a few infomercials. Let's see, I had struggled with my weight all my life. I didn't even like the name Beachbody, as a matter of fact, much less $1 Million Body, which was the proposed name at that time. I was a woman who had just gotten married after a crazy corporate career in network marketing, where I was kind of in a position a lot like Jeff Hill was, flying all over the world, telling people to live their best life, but not living it myself, totally burnt out. And I had just married Kevin. We'd bought this house in the wine country, and my arms were crossed like this, literally. In fact, the truth is that Carl invited us 6 times. So if you've ever had somebody listen to this. Okay, he invited us 6 times to come take a look at this crazy idea he had about creating a coach community. And we said no. And finally, it was my husband, Kevin, who said, this guy's pretty persistent. I think they want to do it differently. Maybe we should go down there. And I remember Carl saying, finally, just come hang out with me for 3 days. So we were literally at the door after 3 days of Beachbody, listening to what was going on. And I'm still feeling a little unsure. And Carl says to me, kind of taps me on the shoulders, the door is opening for me to say my goodbyes. And he said, look, Milan, we've got a lot of work to do in a really short amount of time. And I think you and Kevin can really help us. But let's just set all that aside for a minute. What if you could create a business doing something that you really, really loved, where the most important part of the success of that business was that you took really good care of yourself first? And that was it. And we gave our hugs goodbye, and I walked out the door. And I remember on my journey home, I had thought to myself, of all of the years that I had worked so hard climbing a corporate ladder, creating successes for other companies, in the network marketing field, by the way, no CEO ever cared if I was healthy or happy. Not one of them. Maybe they did, but they never told me that. And no job I ever had, as restless as I was in every career I had, was that ever my focus, that I actually took care of myself, because I was always meeting somebody else's objectives. And so here was this little guy with this crazy idea that nobody else believed in, by the way, including John Congdon, his partner in Beachbody at the time, saying, what if we could do this? And I don't know if you've ever had that moment in your life where you felt, whether it was a restlessness or whether it was, just kind of like there's got to be more. And somebody says something to you that makes you just kind of stop dead in your tracks. And that's what happened in that moment with Carl. And so, we're going back to our wine country home, newly married. I was done with network marketing, not going to do it anymore. And here's this one little voice that says, what if you could create a business doing something you loved? I mean, something you were really proud of, where the most important part of the success of that was first that you took care of yourself. And that was the missing piece for me. That was the moment I said yes to coaching. But I want to back up for a minute, because there's actually a backstory to my story that I think is even more important to all of you. And that is, how did coaching even ever happen? And I don't know if you've ever heard this story before, but my hope in the work that I do is that every coach knows this story and tells this story and shares it in moments when it really matters. So there's two guys that had this crazy idea. They had been working with Gunther Renker, one of the top infomercial companies, and kind of working their own way up in that crazy space. But they wanted to create fitness programs and sell them on infomercials to people who weren't going to go to a gym or hire a trainer. And they thought there was a market for that, because actually they weren't in very good shape themselves, Carl and John. And Gunther Renker and everybody else totally laughed at them and said, fitness will never sell in an infomercial. So they did it anyway. And in 2005, so, they started the business. They kind of launched, I think, Great Abs was one of their first programs, and they met Tony Horton and so on. And so in 2005, there was a little bit of a slump in infomercial marketing. And it was a great time, because Carl and John could have said, what are we going to do? We need to push harder. We need to go into new markets, whatever. We need to create a new program. Instead, what they did when things got a little tough in 2005 is they started talking to their customers. And they wanted to be more than just DVDs in a box company. And they learned some really priceless things. The first thing was, out of 40 people who watched an infomercial, probably P90X at the time, one person bought a program out of 40. But something interesting happened. The other 39 knew who we were. And you've probably experienced that as a coach. A lot of times when people ask me what I do and I'm talking about it, I'm like, have you ever heard of Beachbody? And they're like, like P90X or Insanity. And they'll go, oh, yeah. So what happened is 40 people would watch an infomercial, one would buy, the other 39 started to become aware of our brand. But maybe for one reason or another, they didn't want to buy through an infomercial. The other thing they learned is that out of 10 people who did buy our programs, 5 of them never opened the box. 3 of them started and stopped. 2 of them got great results. So instead of just figuring out how do we get the other 5 to open the box, how do we get the other 3 to stick with the program, they talked to the 2 people who got great results. They started running contests for them. They started creating communities for them online. And what they learned is almost 100% of them had one thing in common. They had a buddy. They had somebody where it was back in pagers back in the day, or they had somebody that they said, I'll work out with you, which is WOWY, which is what the name of our first super gym. All of who we are now as a community came from those customers. The whole reason that we created a coach community was because they showed us the way. And so that's how coaching was born. And I think that that's an important thing to all of us, because rather than being a network marketing company who said, hey, we want to be a network marketing company, let's come up with a product. Like, let's come up with a juice or a makeup or a this or a that, and let's become a network marketing company. We actually kind of backdoored our way into becoming a network. And we came to this through what our customers taught us, which is in the space of fitness and wellness, people have to figure out what their healthy formula is. And when they have a buddy helping them do that, the chances are you'll change a life. And so Carl started exploring this whole idea. How could I reward a coach for being somebody's buddy? And initially they actually looked at like affiliate programs and things like that, and it never really worked. And that's when he started embracing network marketing. And that's when they started calling Kevin and I, because my career had been on the corporate side of network marketing. Now, I was arms crossed, done, suitcase packed up, not going to travel anymore, and out of shape, as a matter of fact. So imagine when I went into that office and met all these guys, and I'm like, I don't know if I fit. I don't know if I fit. But what I did know is that I had this idea that we could do network marketing differently, that we could really be customer focused, And that's really kind of where Carl and I had this common idea, this common mind around who we are as coaches. And that's a legacy that we're all a part of. The idea of helping people live healthy and fulfilling lives. And I wanted you to hear the story. And I hope someday you get to tell the story that, we were really born out of the need of our own customers and out of the success of our own customers. So I want to take that and just kind of fast forward now, because I'll tell you that in my 13 years of a coach, at about year 5, I hit a wall. I'll never forget it because I was heavily involved in personal development, and I was working with a guy named Michael Gerber, who wrote a book called The EMyth. If you haven't read it, it's a great book. Best chapter 9 in marketing I've ever read. But the book is a story about how Michael was a coach for a woman who was going to inherit her family's pie business. And by the time Michael came into her life, she never wanted to bake another pie in her life. I mean, but she couldn't leave it because it was like from her grandmother to her mother. She couldn't leave it. And I remember feeling that way at about year 5. I thought, I've got leads. I've got things going on. I've got phone calls to return. And I literally didn't even want to walk into my office. And I'm like, oh, the guilt of that. Like, how could people would love a business like I have. Like, what's wrong with me? And what I realized in that moment is that it was this amazing opportunity for me to fall back in love with what I said yes to in the beginning. And, when you look at my little business, which became a big business, I started with a list of 18 coaches, by the way. I didn't have 100 because I wasn't going to go to people I'd helped build in other companies and say, come do this with me. That's out of integrity, so I didn't do that. I had a short little list, and 14 of the 18 actually said yes. And here was my invitation. Listen, you're not going to like the name of this company. And I'm not really sure where we're going to be in 6 months. I haven't developed any training yet, but I think they want to do this differently. I think this is a company that really wants to tell the truth about wellness and weight loss. And if nothing else, I think we can take really good care of ourselves and have some fun building a business. That was like my invitation. Like, it wasn't any guarantees at all. So 14 out of 18 said yes. In my lifetime, I've sponsored probably about 130 to 150 coaches personally, but that team has grown well over 60,000. We as a team probably bring on board about 1,000 coaches a week. And I work my business, I would say 16 to 20 hours of focus time. It's on my mind all the time, a week now. And the only reason I'm sharing that with you, is I want you to have a long range vision for this, because that's what sustained me, is getting back to the joy of it. It's, it didn't happen overnight. But what I have now is going to last beyond my lifetime. Like, literally, it's a legacy business now. I'm having a lot of fun with my daughter, Sandy, who's 38 and a mom. We're now kind of teaming up as a mother-daughter approach to this business, and it's going to be a blast. I never knew that would happen when I started. But when you start, you have to stay in the joy of this work. And when I say that, care more about who you're becoming than what you actually achieve. That's what has kept me in the joy. That's what's kept it fresh. Those are the conversations I have with my customers and my coaches. Where's the joy in this journey for you? And how can I keep you in that joy? For me, sometimes it is backing out of social a little bit and getting physically out into my community. So the other thing, as I say, is if you love the being and the doing of the work of a coach, the storytelling, that part of it, then, and you focus more there than just on the results side of thing. And that's not to say that you don't need to have goals. I'm going to talk about goals in a minute. But if you stay in that zone of helping people figure out what their healthy formula is, and I think that's an important one I want to talk about just for a minute. Because when I talk to coaches, a lot of times they're extremely point-driven, rank-driven, all of those kinds of things. And I think those are great goals to have if you're not sure what your goals are, because sometimes we aren't quite clear about what we want to achieve. And so getting to a rank or just doing Success Club no matter what, that can be like a really great goal if you're not clear. But I will also tell you that if every day, or every month you start at 0, like we're going back to trying to get to Success Club 5 or 10 or whatever, every month you're trying to help one person. If you focus on the joy of this work is helping people figure out what their healthy formula is, at least for me, then it's always an adventure. Like I'm always creating conversations with people about, so what are you doing? Like, how's your life? That's my lead-in question. Like, how are things going? And the way that we have that conversation is, how's your health? And whether they're doing CrossFit or training for a marathon or, they're a personal trainer or what, it really doesn't matter. Because the one thing that I know for sure is that finding a way to move your body, finding a way to feed your body, and creating a system of support so that that's how you live your life every day is what I stand for. And so to me, I have no judgment, and I'm not trying to fit everybody into a certain box. And there's joy in that. So I'm hoping that when you look at the work that you're doing as a coach, that you see that the joy in helping people find their healthy formula is a lot broader and can be a lot more fun than just trying to see who will buy a challenge pack or who will join a challenge group or who will, like tie into just one single offering that you have. Sometimes we get transactional. We're like, I post this, I want to see a like, or I do this and I want to see a result. And we lose the joy of it, and we lose the conversation, which is what I love to do. So I have no more than 3 things that I focus on. And one of them is always my own self-care. And because that was the promise I made to Carl and the promise I made to myself in the beginning. So I'm always focused on taking care of myself and showing the way, because that is how I show the way. And that is how I live in integrity with the work that I do. The second is I'm helping people who want it. I don't have to be the expert. I like to stay in that role, but helping people who want the help has been a really important discernment for me. So that I'm not always dragging people. I'm not always convincing people. I just don't do that. I help the people who want it. And the third goal that I have is I'm always an ambassador of hope, and that I'm always connecting and sharing stories. So if there's one skill I've developed really well that's caused me to keep this alive in my heart, is that I've become a really good storyteller. And the most important story you can tell is your own. And the most important person you can tell that your own story to is yourself. I will tell you that some of you might have met Kendra Hall. This is one of her teeny skinny little books. And actually, it's got a lot of pictures in it. So it's really, but I teach from this book a lot. And it's called Story Your Way to Success in Direct Selling, Kendra. And follow her on Instagram if you're not. She's the best master at teaching you how to tell your story in an impactful way that I know or that I've ever run across. Bo Eason, Brendon Bouchard, those guys are good too, but she's really good and fast. And so I really want to encourage you, if anything from this call, is to master the art of storytelling. Your own, learn how to tell each other's stories in this group and share each other's stories with each other after you've done Kendra Hall's work, and learn how to tell the Beachbody story. And then what I realize is in everybody I meet, whether I'm in the line at Costco or just, whatever I'm doing in my life, I'm curious about the story that's in front of me, the barista at Starbucks or the whatever. And so I'm never really in a selling mode. I'm always kind of in a story gathering mode. So what do you love about being a barista? So when you shop at Costco on a Monday, like we always come for our favorite things, what are they? I'm genuinely going through my life, having fun, uncovering the stories of the people around me. And that kind of networking, that kind of human connection has kept this business alive in my heart each and every single day. And here's the other magic of it. I never know who's going to be a coach. I never know, once they say yes to being a coach, who's going to be like this crazy rock star at coaching. And to me, that's what makes today a new day of amazing fun, is to see who shows up. And so for me, like 13 years later, almost turning 60 years old, why do I wake up every day with like total energy and love and joy around coaching? is because I just never know who's going to fall in love with this the way I have. And there's just great joy in having those conversations and going through that discovery process to see what happens. And so I'm hoping that, for me, I think the two big reasons that I became a coach was to prove that it's possible for every woman. It is possible to create a business doing something you love. It is possible to have, to wake up every day and learn something new and get paid for that. It is possible to have a network marketing company that has integrity and that has good culture and that is customer driven. It's possible to do this well and to do it right. And it is possible to create a legacy in your own life. And most of you are fairly young, so you might not be thinking legacy yet. But what if you created a business that sustained you the rest of your life, that you turned over to somebody else in your life that you loved? I have 2 daughters, 3 with Kevin. I've got 7 grandchildren. One of them is a special needs little girl. One of the neatest aspects of this business that I never knew 12 or 13 years ago was that this business would create a sustainable income for Quincy. And Quincy's 5. She has Pitt-Hopkins syndrome. She will never be able to work. Who knows if she'll walk or talk? But this business is going to make sure that she has the care she needs. And so I'm just sharing that because you're connected some amazing roots in this team. I'm part of that. I'm one of the deep tap roots of the tree that you're a part of. And you guys are the branches. You're the new hope. You're the one that are, uncovering the stories and reaching into people's lives in ways that we never could 13 years ago. And so I have great hope in the work that you're going to do. Deep respect for the courage that it takes every day to be a coach. I mean, we're not selling mascara or, anything that. What I've learned about coaching is that our work begins after we've sold them something. And so that's really unique about us. And that's the part to fall in love with. So I know that, in Carolyn and I, when we met, had just a few minutes together, and almost instantly she broke into tears. I don't know if that's normal for her or not, but she did, because she had such a heart for the vision she had for all of you and for the kind of tribe and team and connectedness that she wanted to create. And to be an example of a good leader, a leader that creates results in a way that, that builds trust. And she knew in her heart that she was kind of at the cusp of experiencing that herself. And so her commitment to all of you is unshakable. That I don't doubt, because I saw it in her heart that day. And so, I think that's the main message. And whether we have time for questions or not, I don't know. I'll tell you that the best advice I can give you is to stay close to what makes you joy. It brings you joy in this. And for some of you, that may be 80% social, 20%, getting out into the community. For somebody like me, I need to be out in the community more. And less on social, which you'll see if you follow me, because I don't do a lot there. But the truth is, I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I think there's your way. And so that's my wisdom for tonight.
I had to take a second. I can't talk. Let me just compose myself. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Yeah, everyone's crying. You just made everybody cry. Including myself. But I have my glasses on, so you can't really tell.
Well, I hope they're happy tears. I mean, I hope that you guys feel that, I'm going to tell you, just like heart to heart, coaching's not easy. We are not a transactional business. The heart and the love we pour into this comes after the transaction. But I will also tell you that if you stay customer focused, if you build your own little tribe, if you can show the woman across the street or down the hall or somehow in your life that she can do that too, and you focus on duplicating strong volume emerald coaches who who then become strong diamonds, that it over time, and for each one of you, I don't know what that time factor is. I just know that that doing that work and finding joy in that work, you can create something pretty amazing.
Yeah, and you're proof of that, sitting right in front of us.
Yeah, it's weird for me because like I got invited to speak at like the most powerful women in network marketing, and I'm there hanging out with these women who are all $1 million earners, and I'm like, why do I feel like I don't fit in here? And it isn't a worthiness thing. I mean, I've definitely earned my stripes. I just think that I believe that we need to be unapologetic about our desire to have prosperity in our lives. And it can't just be about money. It's really an interesting balance of those two things. And I think any business owner would tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And you're such like a humble leader that like, that's probably why you also felt that way too. Cause that's just one really awesome quality about you too, that you're just like so humble. Like if somebody met you, they wouldn't know all of the awesome stuff that you've done in your life unless you told them. And I think that like those kind of silent, successful people are some of the coolest people to know and to be around. So that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I love this team. I can see all of you guys. I know, that there's times where I remember in the beginning, I told my husband, I feel like I'm pushing a car uphill and there's an ice storm. Am I really going to win this battle, or is this car going to run me over? And I remember there was a time when I had a desk phone, like real phones, like with a wire to the wall, like they used to have, in one hand and a cell phone in the other. Oh my gosh. But it was all of those crazy times were so worth it. All the mistakes I made, going through that time in year 5 when I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I literally had to fall back in love with it. And the way I fell back in love with it was I started having conversations again, like real ones with people, not just on social. And the words that came out of my mouth, telling my story, telling other coaches' stories. And the other thing that happened to me, I'll tell you, in 2017, it had been a while since I'd actually helped somebody lose weight. And I looked at my friend Judy Finneran. She's 10 years older than I am. And she was over 300 pounds and worried about dying. And I looked at her, and we were both founding coaches. And I looked at Judy and I said, if I don't help another soul, like if I don't help another single customer ever, you and me, girl, we've been at this for 10 years now. We haven't helped each other. And we started on a journey with 2B Mindset. Judy's lost over 140 pounds. She's a size 14. She was a 5X. I mean, all of a sudden it became really real for me. And that was 2 or 3 years ago. So I think sometimes we have to re-fall in love with the work.
Thanks for sharing your story with us and your heart and just spending time with us. We really appreciate it. And I don't know if it's just me. I'm sure it's not just me, but don't you all feel like so welcomed by Milan? Like, just like arms wide open, like just come run and give me a hug. Like I just always want to go run and give you a hug. Like so welcoming, and even though like not everyone on this call has met you, I feel like they still, like a piece of you is still with them now because they've got to hear from you, and it's just really awesome to see like all that. I mean, 13 years, like all of, what you've done. And if you said no, none of us would be here. So.
Well, I don't know. Carl's pretty persistent, but yeah, I did say no like 6 times. And then the yes came in the moment when I realized that this was really personal to me. And I think that I know that that's true for every one of you. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so important to me that I prove that it works for you too.
Mm-hmm. Just writing something down so I don't forget it.
Yeah.
Something that you said.
It just really matters to me. And maybe that's my real get up and do it every day, is that I want it to work for every one of you too. So.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions for Milan while she's on this call? Are you free to stay for like 5 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Does anyone have any?
It can be a hard one. It can be a hard question.
Anyone? I mean, this doesn't happen every day now. We get to chat with Milan like this, so.
Raise your hand if you feel like you can really do a great job telling your story in 3 minutes or less. Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna make
raise your hand if you've ever told the Beachbody story.
No.
Okay, there's a couple of you. Good. Raise your hand if it was the first time you'd ever heard it. Okay, interesting. Because that's, I know you guys probably as a team have a lot going on. Maybe there's a book you're reading, whatever. But I really want to encourage you to become really good. And whether you use Kendra Hall's book, I think it's like $11 on Amazon. I'm not even sure. But it's about a super quick thing to do. So what you would do is you guys kind of get the book together. Or I have a couple of worksheets I could send Carolyn too. Is then you just create the space for everybody to go tell their story in your group. Her style, her way.
That's good too, because if we're talking to someone else who relates to somebody else's story, then we can still help that person even if they don't relate to ours. So it's good to know other people's too.
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah, I'd be interested to see that, like the worksheet that you have, and
sure, I'll send it to you.
I will order the book. Oh, Alicia has a question. Oh, I wish I had a question. I was thinking that one. I read that wrong. Sorry. I have a question for you before you go. So, what would you say to the coach who feels as if they haven't moved forward in their business due to like maybe not rank advancing in a while, or not seeing the kind of success like on her team that she wants to see? What would you say to that coach to help them kind of get over that kind of plateau of like not moving their business forward in like, obviously not just like looking at the things that are positive and kind of not focusing on the fact that so like a person hasn't maybe rank advanced in some amount of time, because obviously those are important goals for coaches too. So like what would you say to that person to help them get over that hump of like not moving forward as like rank or whatever in a long time?
So the basics of this business are not complicated. And, I had worked in this field on the Jeff Hill, Kim Carver side for many years. So in nutritional products too. And what I've learned after like 30 some odd years is that the basics don't change. Mm-hmm. And so the first thing, so it's either one of two things to me when somebody's stuck. It's either a mindset issue, and it can be both sometimes, or it's a skill set issue. So, either it's your mindset. So if you've got some kind of limiting belief or some kind of obstacle in your way, or for some reason you think you can't do it, it's either the mindset that's holding you back, and it's that limiting belief that says I'm too this, or I'm not enough that, or whatever, or it's a skill set. And I remember back in my human resources days, some of the simplest things are true. And somebody said, if somebody's not doing something or achieving something, it's either because they don't know how or they don't want to. That's the bottom line. And so you got to kind of peel that away and figure it out. Is this a skill set that they need? Do they need to learn how to do something? Or is it a mindset they need to change? Now, the best way to get past either one of those is action. And so I think today, I wouldn't have said this 5 years ago, that Beachbody's basic training, it's 30-30-30, what Kim Carver's has, which I have in a binder right here that I can grab at any moment. But this little tracker thing, to me, is like the basics. Like, you want to get back involved, get back to the basics. I still do them 13 years later. I still measure, like, is what I'm doing effective? So that's what I would tell them is, I would probably ask them questions, Carolyn. I'd say, like, So is it, what is getting in the way? And is it a mindset thing, or is it a skill thing? Is it something we need to develop that you need to know, or that you just need to change your perspective on? One of the hardest things in this is self-judgment. And I think that holds a lot of us back, is, that we talk about the comparing thing, but it's not just the comparing. It's the, I'm not like her. I can't do 50 Success Club points, or I'm not like her. Or the self-judgment that goes on. And I deal more, probably 90% of the work that I do as a coach mentoring other coaches, and particularly women, is I'm coaching around fear, limiting beliefs, self-judgment, and that's where breakthroughs happen. But the way that breakthrough happen always is through action, is just take action. And not even having to do it very perfectly. You could do a few things really well. And I think when Kevin and I, sometimes we'll bump into each other and we're like, so-and-so's really struggling. Like, I'll go to him like, honey, what do you think it is? Working so hard, feels like doing all the right things. And he's like, they're not talking to, they're not having very many conversations. Conversations is the heart of this business. Any business, as a matter of fact. So yeah, I'm sorry, that's kind of a long answer, Caroline.
No, it's fine. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Do the basics consistently, and I promise you that if they are, and that's why I don't love trackers. I'm kind of a free-spirited person, but boy, do they give you clarity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Any other questions before we sign off? I like your Ray Dunn thing you have. I have one too. Same one. Actually, a little different. Similar.
Oh, that was a gift for me. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't take my price tag off. Oh, well. It's on the bottom. I bought it for myself, so it doesn't matter. But yeah.
Well, I wish you guys an amazing February. There's a lot of stuff going on, as there always is. Beachbody lots to make it fun. But this is a month of, connecting with your heart and pouring love into what you do. And, I think that that's what we do the best. So I'll be thinking of all of you. I'll be checking on you through Carolyn. Mm-hmm. And I just, want you to know that I'm here. If there's anything that comes up, if you want to talk to a seasoned, great grandmother kind of person, I am a Facebook message away.
We'll just call you a G Mama. Does that work?
There you go. There you go.
Thank you so much. Everyone's super grateful that you're here, and I will see you in a little bit on your call.
All right. You guys have a great night.
Thank you. Bye. Oh, wait, don't go. We need a picture of this. Let me